Okay, welcome to the Daemonicon, and I wanted to do this really special unboxing. Now, it took me forever to get one of these in hand. I've wanted one for a while, but it took me forever to get one that I could unbox for you. And this is Kingdom Death Monster. It's a really huge co-op board game, and you can see it's filling my entire photo booth. Now, it is an expensive game. Retail, it goes for $400, and I was able to find one from somebody who went to Gen Con this year. So, here it goes. I'm going to do what I can to try to fit everything in here, because it is so huge. It's literally, if I move the camera left or right, it will get out of my photo booth. So here we go. Ah, that thing is... There we go. Really nice emblem for their logo, but I'll put this aside because I literally do not have space for it. Okay, and then as far as I know, there are no instructions for putting them together. They're slowly updating that, but they're kind of self-explanatory. An arm goes to an arm slot and very posable. But here are all the miniatures. Get that out of the way. Okay, it looks like a lot of miniatures. We'll just bag out. I'll slowly put them back in that box there. Okay. So I'll kind of gauge how many miniatures. Based on the bases. There are a lot of bases. It looks like the monster ones are too big. Okay, there's the biggest one. So you can kind of gauge how big this game is and the battles you're going to have, you know, comparing the size of the bases. And it looks like there are a bunch of these, if I can get in the light, these stylized skull bases. I'm sorry I can't zoom in, all the light is focused down there. I will go a little more in depth in everything once I get it all unboxed. It looks like some bigger monster bases, just a huge box of bases. From what I know, when you build your four-person team of survivors, you can just have just 4 miniatures made and get started. But it's so customizable. There we go. So here's some of the other sprues. This is the Unarmored Kit, Lion Kit, and Screaming Fur Kit. I'm guessing they correspond to the different monsters you fight, and then when you beat them, then you get to keep some piece of gear, which is kind of cool because you've got, looks like some butcher's knives and giant swords. So as far as I know, what you can do is as you go along, say you kill a monster and you take his butcher cleaver and maybe some piece of armor, you can literally kit out your survivor to have those exact pieces of war gear visibly. So as you progress, and this is kind of what I want to do, is progress to where I've got my starting guys just with like, I think they have stone like knives and just their lantern, and I want to progress that and hopefully keep the same heads. I don't know how many heads I'll get, but so as I go along, I can show you guys the progression of the start of the game to the end game, and just this whole line of survivors as they progress. But then again, it's a brutal game, so they're probably going to die on me. Okay. This one looks like... This is just the Lantern Kit. I'm not sure if these are findable items. Okay, here's one of the this is, looks like a bunch of stuff. Prologue. That's interesting. Yeah, it looks like it's got a bunch of stuff. So it's got part of a monster, looks like part of another monster, maybe the lion. Yeah, there's a lion's tail. And then I've got part of the Watcher. He's pretty cool. As I build these out, I'll show them to you as well in future videos. So yeah, just a bunch of different sprues for the different kits. So I believe there's like upwards of 70 miniatures in here. So you could take the time and build them all out. Kingsman, I believe that's another monster. I got part of the Phoenix here. You can see that wing is just huge. That'll be really cool to build out. Looks like Screaming Antelope. Yep, Screaming Antelope. Another monster. And then a various assortment of arms and tassels and heads. And so that's all the miniatures. I think I've got a couple more sprues for the Phoenix here. Yep, a couple more Phoenix sprues. And those wings. I mean, when this miniature is put together, I mean, look at that. Compared to the survivors you get, that's just crazy. Okay, so I'm going to put this aside and kind of get into the core game's components, the board, the cards, the tokens. Okay, so it looks like we have this starting thing. Looks like kind of how you base your turns for building things. So yeah, there we go. I can show that out. So it looks like, yeah, you start the settlement, survivors return, you gain endeavors, draw settlement event, update death count. That's a bad sign. Update timeline and develop. I'm sure it's like crafting new items and weapons and stuff from what you found. And then, oops, sorry, knocking the camera there. And then, yeah, okay, there you go. So you take different components, and with the invent deck, and you got your innovations, your locations. And then you prepare your guys to go out, and you do your... Okay, this is all part of the settlement phase. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, and then looks like you got stuff for your... Yep, this is the monster thing. So the way monsters work, they have an AI card deck, so that they basically have pre-programmed actions that you draw from when you're fighting them. That way you don't have to have like a DM say, hey, this is what's supposed to happen, and then DMs are great, especially if you can find a good one, but most of the time there's a lot of pressure on them, especially if you're running a long campaign, especially every week. The nice thing about Kingdom Death is the game does all that for you. So if you're planning out stuff, it's really easy to just get everything going, and the environment makes the game for you rather than you making the game and the environment. Alright, so I got some tokens here. Looks like when you are playing, one of you does get to control the monster, so I'm assuming you switch that off between you. It looks like a bunch of, as far as I remember, these are obstacles, like tall grass, I know comes in when you fight the White Lion. Got some ruined columns. There's a tree thing, I think. I don't remember what that's for. Dead monster. This actually looks like an updated, almost looks like an updated version from what I've seen. But yeah, you've got all your stuff: damage, toughness, evasion, movement, accuracy, and all your wound counters. And yeah, it's nice that they're double-sided too, so you... especially I know on a lot of these tokens, if you play a lot, you end up defacing one side, so it's really nice that they're double-sided. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to do the game board last, because it's going to fill up the whole space, so I'll come back to that. Okay. So yeah, there's your, these are printable, these are your character sheets, but these are printable from the Kingdom Death website, so if you don't want to have to use these, you totally can. I'm really hoping that they get far enough to where they do an app for this, because that would be kind of cool. But then again, there's so much involved in doing that, it's just easier to have a paper printout. Besides, the retro feel is kind of cool. And it looks like these are the gear grids for your survivors. So all the weapons and armor pieces you have, you get 9 slots. And then it's nice because you see all the different stuff you can do on the side. That's kind of nice. Okay, so these, open these up. There we go. So these, oh yeah, okay, so these are different things you can do. Okay. So I'm assuming these are settlement things you can do. Stuff you can make. I don't know if these are character proficiencies or if anybody can do it. Bonesmith, Caterium, Lantern Horde, Leather Worker. Yeah, I think these are proficiencies. Mask Maker, Organ Grinder, Plumery. Yeah, there's a lot of different cool things you can do with your characters. Weapon Crafter. Yep. So that's pretty cool. And then lots of silica gel. Which I'm glad they did, because there's so much card stuff. Okay, these are organizational things that go in here to keep all your weapons straight. The dice are really nice. Let me open these up. So I believe there's either a hit dice or a monster dice, and then each character has you just spread 5 dice among you. It's nice having that critical die being a lantern. And then I'm not sure what these are. These are hit locations? Head. Yeah, I've got head, hand, foot, organs, waist, I think. Yeah, these are all hit locations. And, okay, there we go. These are settlement events. These are the settlement events. Let me open this up. Okay, first day. First settlement. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is everybody gathering at the beginning. Plague, Dark Dentist. There's a lot of cool different things that happen. Acid Storm. Elder Council. Triathlon of Death, where you... That's funny. Okay, so like, you're having like a racing contest. If you get first, you get a +1 permanent movement, once per lifetime. Okay, so that you can't do it again. Like, drawing this again, you can't be a double racer. Okay, that makes sense. But if you do really badly, you get a torn Achilles tendon, severe injury. So there's a lot of cool stuff to where. I mean, it's very anime themed, to where all this crazy stuff happens during your games. That's a really big draw to it too. That's kind of crazy. I was watching a Twitch stream, actually, of somebody playing this, and they fought the monster, and one of their survivors lost their arm during the combat. And what happened was they tried to get back, and of course, because this game is this game, they tried to attach the arm and roll the 1. And so instead of attaching her arm, they ripped her other arm off, because that makes sense. But it's funny because the game, and I think it's actually down here, the character grid, unarmed combat, yeah, there it is, unarmed combat, there it is, sorry, I know the lighting's bad, Fist and Tooth, every survivor can do a basic attack where they're just biting and clawing, so she could, even though she had no arms, she could hop around and bite people, which is hilarious. Okay, so I already have a pack of these. The guy I got this from, he opened some to make sure everything was in here and good before he shipped it. So here are a bunch of the item cards. Lucky Charms, Rawhide Boots. So these are the ones that go on your gear grid. So you actually have a nice indication of what you have. Which is great, because even though the game has miniatures to where you can build it all out and have your survivor directly represent what gear they have, you don't necessarily need to do that. You just build 4 guys and get started. And these are all the AI hit decks. I'm not going to go through these. These are the way the monsters go. Some event cards. Mostly I don't want to open these because it's a lot of cards. I'm going to go and buy some protective sleeves for these. And I really want to do like deck boxes for each one so that I can keep everything straight. Okay, I'll hit the rulebook in a second. I'll probably set out the game board and then talk about the rulebook. Okay, and then yeah, character sheet, or settlement sheet. That says a lot that your death count is like 30 squares. Okay. Alright, I think that's it. I'm going to put everything back in here, and then I'm going to go and show the game board off. Okay. Okay, this is bigger than I thought. Wow, this is literally gonna more than fill my photo booth. Sorry about the camera again. I'm hitting things. Okay, I'm gonna put this on the side. Actually, you know what? I'm only opening it up like halfway. So, this is the game board. Really nicely stylized. You've got not just your grid, but you have it with the different letters for grid position. That way it's easier, so you got letters and numbers. That way it's easier when your monster, I know like the big giant spider monster expansion, it'll jump up and then land in a different location sometimes. So it's easier to measure that so you know where its feet are, and you can just write that down and remember where it was rather than leaving any markers. Now that that's out, let's go through the book. Now the book is pretty simplistic in terms of build quality. So I've seen a lot of people go through and take it apart and rebind it, which is not a bad idea, especially since you're going to want to leave it open like this. But I'm going to go through. I mean, the artwork is just beautiful. They go from the different drawn style to like a pencil sketch style to all the stylized stuff like this, which is just gorgeous. So, it looks like, yeah, you got your starting survivors, 1 through 4 players, and when you don't have 4 players, like 2 of you can control more than 1 survivor, which I've seen done, so you don't have to, you gotta play with a friend. Well, technically, I guess you could play with yourself, but it's a board game, why would you do that? And then you've got your monsters, you got your prologue campaign, which is nice because it gives you an introduction to the game. And I could read this prologue, but I don't want to. But yeah, you've got your setup for your white showdown setup for your white lion, and it shows you how you move, how the monster moves, its attacks, what the damage your survivor does, the different moods of the monster, which is nice because especially in animes, you'll get this big battle, and after a while they'll go into a different form or change their attack style, and it's very interesting how that's done. And then to the point where you win, you collect your rewards, take the resource cards, and then you create your settlement. And then it goes into all the crafting, all the gear, and then you go further in, and you actually go through all the way. So you got your different injuries, and yeah, I was right with that dice. It was waist, legs, body, arms. Okay, and then brain trauma. Sorry. Some of it can be kind of graphic. It is a mature-rated game, so I wanted to point that out. It's not something you're going to want to play with your little kids. A lot of it, especially the monsters, are very graphic. Lots of anatomical parts. Yep, and you go all the way through up until you get to a finale where you have this showdown, and they're kind of tweaking that with the new Lantern expansion, as far as I know, to where they're streamlining a bunch of stuff. But the nice thing is, if you already have the game or you want to get the game, it really doesn't affect you that much. Yeah, Phoenix Feather. These are all story events. Regal Visits. There's so much cool stuff going on. Yeah, Showdown Phoenix. It's such a cool game. So that's really it. I just wanted to show that off. I've got a bunch of Kingdom Death miniatures I've been collecting for a while, so I will show those off eventually. But that's it. I hope the audio on this turned out okay, but thank you very much for watching. If you got through this whole thing, I just wanted to show this unboxing video. I know it's a bit long, but I really like the game, and I'm glad I could kind of show it off. Hopefully I'll be able to set up the camera like this and actually show you a game, because that would be amazing. But I'd have to have friends for that. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, I will be starting to do a series on Kingdom Death very soon, because like I said, I have a bunch of miniatures to show off that are painted by commission painters, by myself, by friends. It's quite a big game at this point in terms of the amount of miniatures to collect, And it's a very esoteric game. It's not mainstream, but it's got a lot of fans to the point where it's kind of hard to get miniatures sometimes. So I will show that off, and hopefully eventually get a game board set up, and then be able to show everybody how that goes, and just have fun with it. But until next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.